So already I'm screwing up. I tried very carefully, but unsuccessfully. So I'm going to do a little assuming here and assume that anybody watching this particular video is probably going to be a 1500 owner or GoldWing owner in general, and that does some of their own work. And if you're a 1500 owner, one of the most frustrating things about putting parts of the body back together is exactly that. And this bottom piece right here is all one piece, and getting this in this particular spot, I'm not going to take it off because I finally got it on, is a major pain in the butt. And just a hint for anybody who hasn't messed with it much, when you're putting this in, if you push down on this bottom piece, there's a little connector in here. Not sure if you can see it, but it's right here. It has to go underneath that connector. This bottom piece of the grill has to go underneath there, and if you push down a little bit, you can get under it, and then this will all slide in. Otherwise, you just kind of fight with it and wonder what the heck is keeping it from going in. And it's just a matter of pushing down on the bottom of this, getting it under that connector right there, and then jockeying it around till everything lines up. Just a little hint there. So as I button this pocket up, takes 4 screws, not that any of that matters. A couple of things I keep in here is this is a antenna cable, so I can plug a little CB in there to my antenna. I don't know, maybe I'll hook up a ham radio antenna to that and do some ham radio stuff off the bike, off this one, like I plan to do with the GS. But this is the audio cable for my tablet that I plug in, since I only have a cassette deck with this. Allows me to have many more options. Usually throw some extra cables for my Cena headset, Bluetooth deal for the helmet. Keep that in there so I can charge that up when needed, and keep a iPhone cable so I can charge on the go. All that stuff can use with the cigar lighter thing. It's a handy little deal. On this side, I really the only thing I keep in here is some clear safety goggles that I use in case I run into a rainstorm that's bad enough to where it's actually getting in my eyes. Usually this windshield protects me extremely well, but it's good to have another option, especially when I usually ride with the open face helmet with this bike, or I used to anyway, before I got my other helmet. As I was getting ready to reinstall this on the other side of the bike, I noticed that we have some breakage right here. So it's time for some more JB Weld. That's how you adapt, improvise, and overcome with what you got. And hopefully this will be good to go by tomorrow. It's time to put the center console back in. One thing you have to keep in mind when you do that, these tabs right here go into this slot, this rectangular slot right there, and then up in this section rests on the inside of this little tab that's right there. So you'll likely have to move the handlebars left or right to get work these arms of the center console into place, so that this slides down into here, and then on the inside of that on both sides. And then this wiring harness will have to kind of be pushed out of the way a little bit so that the center console sits flush down onto the air cleaner box basically, and stuff under there. One thing to keep in mind is these tabs here that lock the center console down in the back. They're kind of loose, but if they're like this in the lock position, it won't sit flush. So you just have to play with it as you get to that point, starting at the top and then working your way back, making sure that they're kind of forward, and then it'll sit down flush. There's 2 posts here with some threads on them. Those go up through these holes here, and then they're mounted with these caps, you know, that screw down onto it, or whatever nut you want to put on there if you lose those. I don't know how I've managed to hold on to these for the 22 years I've had the bike. That's amazing. But it's very time consuming. You have to be patient. You have to jockey things around, the handlebars, moving them around to get things around them, and making sure these are up, you know, and then locking them down after you get it all flush. Don't force anything, just play with it until it, you know, until it gets in there and nice and flush, and you have the line across here that you like. You know, it's not going to be perfect, except from the factory. There might be a little gap, but it's all good. And just be patient with it. That's the biggest key, and don't force anything. I can't say that I've ever tried putting the center console on with the helmet on, but this is the only way to do this hands-free with the GoPro running. So let's see if first time for everything. But yep. So here we go. We'll just, like I said, jockey this around, and then try to be as graceful as possible. You know, these flex, get around those handlebars, get up in there, there's the slots there. It just slides in there. This one's already slidden in there. They're inside those slots. That's all good. We can bring the handlebars center forward. Sometimes you gotta play. You can't really tell what I'm doing, but with the wiring harness, get it out of the way a little bit. Those tabs have probably moved forward. The other left one did. So see, it won't sit down flush. Move that up. Sits down flush. See, there's another tab that goes into a slot here that's broken off over the years because I was probably not patient enough. So it's not going to sit as flush as I'd like it. I think they both broke off. They sure did. So it's in there. This side's a lot more flush than the other. That's all right. Locks it down. Put our screws on. And the other little piece trays that go right there, and it'll be good to go. Now it's time to put this front cowling on. I think a lot of people, it seems like when I first got this GoldWing, said you had to take the cowling off to get to the oil filter, which is right there, but you don't. I would not. I think I did the first time, but that was only the first time because I listened to too many people. I don't know if YouTube was even around then, but you do not need to take the cowling off to get to the oil filter. You can fit an oil filter wrench like the flat one I mentioned earlier between the cowling and the oil filter and still get it out, and I would highly recommend doing that. In this case, I took it off because I needed to work on my lights and needed to get under there to be able to get this stuff off and to get this piece off. So it had to come off. That's the only reason it did come off. It's only 3 screws, one here, one in the middle, one on the other side. Not terribly difficult, somewhat challenging, but you know, it's all part of it. This piece, you have to kind of bend in the middle to be able to get these to space themselves correctly to plug in to the grommets here and over here. So that's a little bit of a weird kind of a thing, pushing this in the middle to be able to get those to where you can push them into the grommets. But And I probably should have washed the bike before I started working on it, but give it a good cleaning after it's all put back together, I guess. So already I'm screwing up. I tried very carefully, but unsuccessfully, gone forever. So I just have to figure something else out. My side cover blew off. Still got lucky it didn't get run over or anything. So the reason it blew off was because a post right here, like similar, just like these, had broken off. I don't remember why, but I've been able to JB weld it back over the years, and it broke, and it was stuck inside the grommet, rubber grommet that was right here. And when I tried to retrieve it, it ended up slipping down in there. So only other option is to buy a whole nother side cover and have it painted, or come up with something else. So my plan was to JB weld a hook onto the frame and onto the side cover, and then I'll take a spring like this. I'll hook it onto there. That'll be a good backup plan, so it won't fly off anymore. And it's good. Adapt, improvise, and overcome, baby. We're getting close now. All right. She's alive. Let's see. We got her tuned up. Got this front light working. Saddlebag light working. Still got to double check the oil. Top it off. Threw a can of seafoam in there to help clean those carbs a little bit. But she's liking the new plugs. Get her cleaned up and burn a few tanks of gas. See how that gas mileage is improved, hopefully. So, there's something to be said for that spray-on kind of foam stuff that cleans vehicles, but I don't know. I just like to do it by hand. Well, I'm gonna take her out for a ride here in a little bit, but first I'm gonna clean my windshield. And I don't do product endorsements really, but this stuff right here, this 210 plastic cleaner polisher, I've used on this windshield, this brand, for 20 years, 21 years, and it's never messed up the windshield. So I would say that 210 product is about as good as you're going to get, because a lot of products will mess up a windshield. I don't know exactly what they do. I just heard different people saying different things over the years, and I just keep sticking with that 210. Tell you what, stuff works like a champ. If you got a windshield, consider getting that 210. Not getting paid for it, just happy to pass that along. All right, my old girl is looking good, feeling good, I'm sure. Not polished up, but still looking pretty good. And we're gonna put some miles on her and see how she really feels. See how thirsty she is today. It's 95 degrees out. I'm kind of thirsty. I hope she's not. Going through the big eye, they call it. Kind of started filming a little late, but it's the big intersection, I guess. The big interchange. I-25 and I-40 here in Albuquerque. So we're doing the test drive. Put some miles on this thing. Got the sun behind me, but if you can see the reflection, check this out. Oh yeah, we have cruise control back. It's so nice to have cruise back. It was just the connectors. I just cleaned them up. Should have tried that when I took it apart up in Canada, just to give it a quick look over, quick troubleshooting. I thought it was a switch. I didn't even clean the contacts, connectors. Lesson learned. But it's back now. It's all good. Getting a little bit low. Right there, the gas gauge is getting down toward empty. Try and put as many miles on it as I can. And then fill it up and get a pretty accurate miles per gallon estimate. Okay. The big test. It's the big test. That's right, GoldWing, you can put 86. You can put the low octane. I like the GS. GS demands premium. The old GoldWing doesn't care. In fact, it prefers just regular. Got 170 miles on this. Reserve light didn't come on yet, but it should take a few gallons. Should be able to get a good idea what the gas mileage is at right now. I'm sure this is riveting for almost no one but me. All right. So what we have here is 170 divided by, and that's 4. 42 and a half. Nice. Back to normal. No idea what actually caused the low gas mileage now. I don't think it was the wind from when it dropped on the way back from Canada. Dropped from 42 to 25. For a while it was super windy, and I thought that was the result, but a few tanks fulls later, when it wasn't windy, still was getting bad gas mileage. So could have been junk, could have been bad fuel. It took a while to work its way through. Who knows? New plugs, clean air filter, new fuel filter, fresh oil. She's happy again, which means I'm happy. Woo. All right. Well, I'm pretty excited about that 42 miles per gallon. Something worked. I don't care what it was, it worked. You know, I could have done things in an incremental sort of troubleshooting method and tried each thing out to see what it was exactly that might not work, but it just doesn't matter that much to me. I'm just glad I'm back up to actually 42. That's pretty darn good. 42 and a half. Unfortunately, the cruise control now doesn't work. It worked when I was on the interstate, and now it's not working. I hit a bump or something, it seemed like, and it clicked off, and then now it won't come back on. So I don't know, maybe could just be a loose connector. More troubleshooting to do with that later on. She's back to normal. Fuel consumption amounts, so I'm pretty happy with that. Lights are all working. So she's good to go until the next adventure.